Hello, in this video we're going to share some tips on how to assemble this bookcase. But before we get started, here's a few things to keep in mind. Estimated time for assembly is 100 minutes with 2 people and longer with 1. Make sure you have a Phillips head screwdriver and just make sure everything's facing the right way as you're putting it together and you'll do great. So let's get into it.
Just a quick disclaimer, these tips don't cover every step, so make sure you follow the instructions and complete all the steps in order.
Steps 1 through 6 are pretty simple, just putting in dowels and cam bolts. So we're going to start in step 7. And in step 7, we're going to be putting pieces 4, 6, 12, 2 of pieces 5 onto piece 2 here. And for this, the main thing you want to watch out for is that these little overhanging pieces are going to be facing like this. So this is piece 4. That'll go here at the bottom where the legs are. And we'll lock it in with our cam locks. Okay, then next is piece 6. Again, with this ledge facing this way. We'll put in the cam locks here. Next is piece 12, which has the magnets on it. And then pieces 5 go the same way. Okay, once those are all tight, we'll move on to step 8. And for step 8, we need pieces 8 and 9. Which are these weighted panels here. And then these 2 panels go here at the bottom. And just make sure you have panel 8 here towards the top and 9 will be at the bottom. And once those are in, we can go ahead and put cam locks in those. Okay, once those are all tight, we're good to move on to step 9, which is putting on the other half. And this can be really helpful to have a second person just because it's a little heavy and there's lots of things to line up, but you can manage it on your own. Okay, once those are all lined up, we can put in all the cam locks. And then don't forget the 4 on this side of the panel. Okay, and then once we're done with step 9, we can move on to step 10 with bolts W, and those go in here at the bottom. Then we'll use our hex key to put those in all the way. Okay, once those are both in, we're good to move on. In step 11, we're going to put panel 7 into the back of the piece. And for this, we just want to make sure that we have the rounded edge pointing this way. And then when we open it up, we want the tape to be facing upwards like this. And then we'll slide this into the groove here. And this should go into piece 8. Okay, once that's all the way into the groove, we can move on to step 12, which is putting 4 of screws F into these 4 holes here. Okay, then once all 4 of those are in, we're good to move on. In step 13, we're going to attach piece 3 to the shelves. And for this, we just want to make sure that we have this groove at the back lining up with this panel here. We'll go ahead and slide this into place. And it should latch in at the top and bottom. And then just make sure the panel goes in just like that. And then we can put in our cam locks in the top and bottom. And once those are all tight, we're good to move on. In step 14, we're going to put these plastic wedges around the edge of the panel here. And for this, you just want the flat part to go in under the lip of the sides. And then we'll put in our screws. Then we'll do the rest of those around the edge and we're good to move on. In step 16, we're going to attach the hinges and the magnetic plates to the doors. And for this, let's start with the magnetic plates. And on these, you want the bigger chunk of the plate to be facing this way. And you also want the little bumps to be facing into the wood. You can go ahead and screw that in. Same thing on the other door. And then same thing up here, we want the wider half of the plate to be facing up towards the top of the door. Okay, once all 4 of those are on, we're good to move on to the hinges. And on these, the angled part of the bracket is going to rest over the door like this. And then 2 screws in through the top. And then if you need, you can grab a little piece of foam from the box just to prop this up a little bit so that the hinges can go all the way in. And then just make sure it's pressed up nice and tight up against the edge. Okay, once that's tight, we can do the other 5 and we're good to move on. In step 17 and 18, we'll be attaching the doors. We've already gone ahead and done the first one, but we'll show you how to do the second one. And it can be helpful to have a second person to help, so I'll bring in my assistant. So while she holds up the doors and lines up the hinges, I'll go ahead and attach the screws. So we'll just do one screw on the first hinge, and then we'll go down to the opposite hinge and put in one screw down here, and that'll help us line up the rest. Okay, once we've got 2 screws in, we're good to do the rest of them. Okay, once we've got all of the hinges in, we're good to move on and put on the handles. So we'll line up the holes, and then these bolts go into the inside. Then we'll do the other handle. Okay, once both of those handles are on, we're all done. We hope this video was helpful for you in assembling your new bookcase. For more guides, tips, and tricks, go to walkeredison.com.